Now, in this project, I'm going to show you how to make this lovely Christmas card and light catcher in one. That's important to know. It's a very simple project, so hopefully you'll be able to make more than one for all those family and friends. Okay, let's get on with it. So, the first thing to do is outline the design. Now, I've got the design here, and I've blue tacked the glass painting film on top, making sure I'm using it the right way around. It's still got a backing sheet on. Now, if you haven't got glass painting film like this, or acetate, or a thick acetate, you can use recycled plastic you get on containers, etc. But if you're going to do that, rather than waste paint, please test a small part of it first to make sure it doesn't react to the paint. It's great stuff to use, and recycling is always good, but do make sure first it doesn't react to the paint, and you only need to put a little tiny drop of paint on it and you should be able to tell. But if you can recycle plastic, all the better. Right, we're going to outline this in the normal way. I'm using a piping bag because that's what I prefer. If you haven't used a piping bag before, we do have a video I will try and link to, which will show you how to make one and how to use it. So I'm just going to put a drop of outliner in there. Try and guess the amount, but if I put in too much, it doesn't matter because it will be going back into the bottle. Don't put in too much, otherwise it will squirt out the top. Starting in the middle, working my way out, but also turning the work around as I do it. Normal outlining technique applies. Touch, lift and pull. Always try to be pulling the work, never pushing it. Now that is the piece outlined. So just put my remaining outliner back in the bottle. And I should put this to the side to dry somewhere where I'm not likely to put my hands on it. Now, time to paint. And luckily, I've got one over here, which I've already started. Let me take these off. Slightly different design. As you can see, this is a Father Christmas one. And as you'll notice, I've already done the black. I start with the darker colours and work my way towards the lighter ones. So the next one I'm going to do will be red. Use a spirit level to make sure the area is flat, and I've used a bit of paper up here just to compensate and make the board flat. And here's my red paint. Now again, normal glass painting techniques apply. Move the paint over, and then you're just pushing it around. We're flood filling, so rather than brush painting, we're pushing it around just to make sure it gets right up to the edges. Try not to lean over work you've already done. And what we're just filling in the gaps. If you're a cake decorator, this is our equivalent of a running out. A little bit more in there. There we go. Right, and again, I need to leave that to dry or at least go tacky dry before I do the next colour, just in case you spill from one to the next. So I shall put that to the side. And again, here is one I did earlier and is now dry. I've also mottled the clear bits in here. I'm not sure whether you can see that, but they are mottled. And I did that with a crystal clear, thick water-based paint. Now, this needs to be put on roughly. If it's too regimented or too smooth, it doesn't look right. It needs to be put on roughly, and then when it dries, it gives this mottled effect. Also notice I've used two different whites. The clothing is the normal Vitrail white, but the beard and the moustache are the honeycomb, which is in the Pebeo Prismy range. And that gives this little textured type of effect. I thought it was nice to do that and make a distinction between the clothes and the beard and the moustache, but don't worry if you don't have those. White is fine. The colour for the face and the nose, I made up just a very, very small amount of brown and the teeniest bit of red and lots of clear, and that made this nice light colour for the face and for the nose. Right, the next thing to do is to cut this out, and as I'm cutting it out, I'm just going to leave a tab on the top. I'll tidy it up later. I just want to ensure that that tab is left on the top. And now I'll cut the rest off. So I've finished cutting out the piece, including left the tab on the top. I melted a hole in the tab with a hot darning needle, and I've added a little loop of cotton. Now to move on to the card, I'm using this trifold card, but I want the light to come all the way through. So what I've done is traced around or drawn around the oval like that, quite simply, and then cut that out using my craft knife. So like this, and then I've stuck a piece of tape on the top there, sticky both sides. Now all I need to do is place the piece in here. Now I want it to just catch on the bottom. I'll explain about that in a second. I want it to just catch down there. Whoops, only just. I reckon about there. And make sure the cotton sticks well on there. Now I need some glue. And now fold that in. Now using the trifold card like that means this bit is a little bit thicker and it'll stand up a little bit better. Now the reason for just catching on the bottom is if you allow it to swing out, the card can topple. Whereas if you keep it this side of the card, and you can see better on that camera, but if you see, keep it this side of the card, behind the card, then it's not going to fall. I assume you won't want to leave it like that. You can add a little bit of decoration to the card if you wish. I'm not a great card maker, so I've just used a couple of the motifs from there, put on there and coloured. I wanted to find one which had Merry Christmas, but I couldn't. But anyway, you can add other stuff to the card. The great thing about these cards is when they finish with the card and they've had it in the window with the light coming through, etc., But when they've finished, maybe at the end of Christmas, you can take out this bit and save it for next year, and it'll make a really nice Christmas decoration to go in the window or go on a tree or hang up. But you can save this bit and use it year in, year out. So it just doesn't have to get thrown away at the end of Christmas. Right, I hope you've enjoyed making these. We have lots of other Christmas orientated glass painting on our YouTube channel, on our web pages, so please do visit. If you haven't subscribed already, you can subscribe on YouTube by clicking below, and don't forget to click the bell icon. And if you're not a member of our email list, that's a really important one. Visit the site, join the email list, and we'll let you know when there are new videos out and new articles. Happy crafting!